I hope you've had a good week and you're all well and that you're looking forward to Kids Church this morning. Well, can you remember what the last couple of stories about Jesus have been? Can you tell someone? Go right back to the first one that I introduced. Something to do with a drink. Yeah, it was the water into wine, wasn't it? And then Melita did one last week. What was it? Can you remember? It was the calming of the stormy sea, wasn't it? Well, this week is another water-themed miracle. And it's, once again, it shows the power of God in Jesus and what he was able to do, and actually what he was able to help one of his disciples do as well. But before we look at that, would you have a look at my pond? I've got a problem in it at the minute, and I thought it was quite appropriate because something fell into my pond and it has sank right to the bottom. Usually if something falls into water, unless it's shaped a special way or it's a very floaty thing, it sinks to the bottom, doesn't it? So have a look in my pond and see the problem that I've got. I'll be back in a second. So here's the pond, and there's Lucy looking to see if she can go for a swim. She's not allowed in there because there's fish in there. Also, she can't swim very well and she might drown. But I'm just wanting you to look. Can you see I've got a problem? If you look down under the water, can you see two little frogs? They're ornaments that fell into the pond. And now I have to figure out a way of how to get them out. Now there aren't any fish swimming in there at the minute. There should be, because I fed them. But they just don't want to come up to the top. Maybe at the end of this I'll see if I can find some fish for you that you can look at. But how am I going to get those frogs out of my pond? They sank right to the bottom. Well, if you've any ideas of how I can fix my problem without getting too wet, you can let me know on Facebook. But for now, have a look at today's story and see the power of God in Jesus as he does something else amazing on water, and also, very exciting, he helps one of his disciples to do it as well. So enjoy the story, and I also managed to get some pictures of the fish. So after the story, I'll show you the three fish in the pond.
Stories of the Bible. Peter walks on water. This is Peter.
Hey-o! Whoop.
Peter was a fisherman who was called by Jesus.
Hey!
Peter saw the many miracles of Jesus.
Whoa!
And he heard all his teachings. Great crowds followed Jesus wherever he went. One day after Jesus had done a great miracle, he sent the disciples in a boat across the lake while he stayed and sent the people home.
See ya! Hey, Jesus!
After sending them home, Jesus went up into the hills by himself to pray. Meanwhile, the disciples were in trouble far away from land, for a strong wind had risen, and they were fighting heavy waves.
Ah!
About 3 o'clock in the morning, Jesus came toward them, walking on water. When the disciples saw him walking on the water, they were terrified.
Ah!
In their fear, they cried out, "It's a ghost!"
Hold on there.
But Jesus spoke to them at once. "Don't be afraid," he said. "Take courage. I am here." Then Peter called to him, "Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you walking on the water." So Jesus said, "Yes, come." So Peter went over the side of the boat.
Whoa! This is awesome!
And walked on the water toward Jesus. But when he saw the strong wind and the waves, he was terrified and began to sink.
Jesus, help me!
"Save me, Lord!" he shouted. Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him. Jesus said, "You have so little faith. Why did you doubt me?" When they climbed back into the boat, the wind stopped. Then the disciples worshiped him and said, "You really are the Son of God."
Let's practice saying the memory verse. Get an adult to help you to read the words on the screen. Jesus looked at them and said, "With man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible." Matthew chapter 19, verse 26. Let's try it again. Jesus looked at them and said, "With man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible." Matthew chapter 19, verse 26. Try it without the words. Jesus looked at them and said, "With man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible." Matthew chapter 19, verse 26. Oh, here are the fish, as promised. Now, here's a challenge for you. I haven't actually named these fish, but I think I'd quite like them to have Bible names. So maybe you could get someone to post up on Facebook or send it in the Kids Church WhatsApp. What do you think we could call these 3 fish? But I'd like them to be Bible names. So we can get a close up. There's one there. Oh, sorry, Lucy's barking. What could we call that one? And there's another one. What could we call that one? Oh, and there's another one. Right, there's your challenge for this week. Bible names for the 3 fish. And we'll let the last word go to Lucy, who has heard a cat. Lucy says, "Have a good week."
Alexa, play My Lighthouse.
La 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 lighthouse. La 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 lighthouse. La 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 lighthouse. My wrestling in my doubts, in my failures, you won't walk out. Your great love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Oh, you are the peace in my troubled sea. In the silence you won't let go. In the questions your truth will hold. Your great love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Oh, you are the peace in my troubled sea. My lighthouse, shining in the darkness, I will follow you. My lighthouse, I will trust the promise. You will carry me safe to shore, safe to shore, safe to shore, safe to shore. I won't fear what tomorrow brings. With each morning I rise and sing. My God's love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. before us, you're the brightest. You will lead us through the storm. Far before us, you're the brightest. You will lead us through the storm. Far before us, you're the brightest. You will lead us through the storm. Far before us, you're the brightest. You will lead us through the storm. My lighthouse, shining in the darkness, I will follow you. My lighthouse, I will trust the promise. You will carry me safe